Paul VI was the man who claimed to be the head of the Catholic Church from June 21, 1963 to August 6, 1978. He was the man who promulgated the heretical Second Vatican Council and the New Mass. In our video, Vatican II, Council of Apostasy, we showed what happened in the papal conclaves of 1958 and 1963, from which John the 23rd and Paul VI emerged, claiming to be the elected popes. We showed that other cardinals were lawfully elected pope before John the 23rd and Paul VI were elected. Evidence of this fact has been admitted by a cardinal who participated in the conclaves, a prominent Vatican insider, newspaper reports, and former intelligence agents. In the video Vatican II, Council of Apostasy, we also showed that the documents of Vatican II contain many heresies. Paul VI solemnly ratified all 16 documents of Vatican II. It is not possible for a true pope of the Roman Catholic Church to solemnly ratify teachings that are heretical. The fact that Paul VI did solemnly ratify the heretical teachings of Vatican II proves that Paul VI was not a true pope, but an anti-pope. The Catholic Church has had about 40 anti-popes in church history. An anti-pope is an uncanonically elected, quote, pope, that is a person claiming to be pope who has not been legally elected. The Catholic Church has also infallibly taught that a heretic cannot be a true pope. The reason for this is that a pope is a member of the Church and the visible head of the Church, but a heretic places himself outside the Church and ceases to be a member of the Church. Thus, a heretic cannot be the pope, because one who is outside cannot be the head of the Church. This is why the Code of Canon Law, Pope Innocent III, Pope Paul IV, St. Francis de Sales, St. Alphonsus, and St. Robert Bellarmine all teach that a heretic cannot be a pope, and that if a true pope were to become a manifest heretic, he would cease to be the pope. This teaching is rooted in the infallible dogma that a heretic is not a member of the Church. St. Robert Bellarmine, Cardinal and Doctor of the Church, a pope who is a manifest heretic automatically ceases to be pope and head, just as he ceases automatically to be a Christian and a member of the Church, wherefore he can be judged and punished by the Church. This is the teaching of all the ancient fathers, who teach that manifest heretics immediately lose all jurisdiction. So even if one claims to be a priest, a bishop, or a pope, if he has become a manifest heretic, he has lost authority to rule as a leader of the true Church because he has ceased to be a Catholic. St. Robert Bellarmine, this principle is most certain. The non-Christian cannot in any way be pope, as Cajetan himself admits. The reason for this is that he cannot be head of what he is not a member. Now he who is not a Christian is not a member of the Church, and a manifest heretic is not a Christian, as is clearly taught by St. Cyprian, St. Athanasius, St. Augustine, St. Jerome, and others. Therefore, the manifest heretic cannot be pope. And how do we judge that someone is a heretic? St. Robert Bellarmine, for men are not bound or able to read hearts, but when they see that someone is a heretic by his external works, they judge him to be a heretic pure and simple, and condemn him as a heretic. Remember this fact. Paul VI was the person who gave the world the new Mass, the other new sacraments, and the heretical teachings of Vatican II. If you go to the new Mass, or embrace the teachings of Vatican II, the confidence that you have that these things are legitimate is directly connected to the confidence that you have that Paul VI was a true Catholic Pope. This video will expose the amazing heresies of Paul VI. This video will show from his official speeches and writings that he was a complete apostate who was not even remotely Catholic. All of the official speeches and writings of the men who claim to be Pope are contained in the Vatican's weekly newspaper, L'Osservatore Romano. The Vatican has reprinted issues of their newspaper from April 4, 1968 to the present. I have personally gone through every weekly issue of the Vatican's official weekly newspaper from April 4, 1968 to present. From that research mainly, I will now prove that Paul VI was not a true pope, because of the irrefutable and undeniable evidence that he was a complete heretic and an apostate. Paul VI, General Audience, December 6, 1972. Does God exist? Who is God? And what knowledge can man have of him? What relationship must each of us have with him? To answer these questions would lead us to endless and complex discussions. These questions don't lead us to endless and complex discussions. Does God exist? Yes. Who is God? The Holy Trinity. What knowledge can man have of him? The Catholic faith. What relationship must each of us have with him to belong to the church he established? Paul VI is blasphemously stating that these things are endless and complex questions. No Catholic would ever assert such nonsense, which mocks and renders meaningless the Catholic faith and the true God. Paul VI, General Audience, June 27, 1973. Everything must change. Everything must progress. Evolution seems to be the law that brings liberation. There must be a great deal that is true and good in this mentality. Here, Paul VI explicitly states and approves the modernist blasphemy that everything is in a state of evolution. His heresy was explicitly condemned by Pope Pius X. Pope Pius X, Pascendi No. 26, September 8, 1907, explaining the doctrine of the modernists. To the laws of evolution, everything is subject. Dogma, church, worship, the books we revere as sacred, even faith itself. Paul VI on non-Christian religions. The Catholic Church teaches that all non-Catholic religions are false. There is only one true church, outside of which no one can be saved. This is Catholic dogma. Pope St. Gregory the Great. The Holy Universal Church teaches that it is not possible to worship God truly, except in her, and asserts that all who are outside of her will not be saved. All of the other religions belong to the devil. This is the teaching of Jesus Christ, the Catholic Church, in sacred Scripture. See 1 Corinthians 10, verse 20, and Psalm 95, verse 5. Anyone who shows esteem for non-Christian religions, or regards them as good, or deserving of respect, denies Jesus Christ and is an apostate. Pope Pius XI, Mortalium Animos, No. 2, January 6, 1928. That false opinion which considers all religions to be more or less good and praiseworthy. Not only are those who hold this opinion in error and deceived, but also in distorting the idea of true religion, they reject it. Here's what Paul VI thought about non-Christian religions of the devil. Paul VI address, September 22, 1973. Noble non-Christian religions. This is apostasy, a total rejection of Jesus Christ. Paul VI, General Audience, January 12, 1972. A disconcerting picture opens up before our eyes, that of religions, the religions invented by man, attempts that are sometimes extremely daring and noble. Here Paul VI says that religions invented by man are sometimes extremely noble. This is apostasy, a total rejection of Jesus Christ and the Catholic faith. Paul VI message, December 6, 1977. Non-Christian religions, which the Church respects and esteems. He is saying that he esteems false religions. In his address, August 22, 1969, Paul VI praised the Hindu Gandhi and stated that he was, quote, ever conscious of God's presence. Hindus are pagans and idolaters who worship many different false gods. For Paul VI to praise the notorious Hindu Gandhi as ever conscious of God's presence shows again that Paul VI was a complete apostate. Paul VI also officially praised the false religion of Hinduism in the official Vatican II document, Nostra Aetate No. 2 on non-Christian religions. Paul VI's Apostolic Exhortation, December 8, 1975. The Church respects and esteems these non-Christian religions. Notice again, Paul VI esteems false religions. This is purely satanic. Paul VI address, August 24, 1974.